already know. Okay, everybody ready? All right. I know that we are 1 hour late. We had a few dignitaries and politicians that's somewhat long-winded. Like some Baptist preachers can be. You know, back in the day, I was Baptist. So, start about 9 a.m. for Sunday school and didn't get out until 5, 6 o'clock in the evening, right? Kind of like the Franklin Church, My name is Kevin Nash from Radio Free 102.3 KJLH. Do we have any KJLH listeners in the house? Of course we do. Working the evening slot at night, I get an earful of relationship issues, you can imagine, right? From listeners needing someone to talk to, someone to listen to them vent, and wanting a word of wisdom, some advice, and a word of encouragement. And a few weeks ago, I got a call from my brother thanking me for my service to the community, right? And he said, well, you're not only a great DJ personality, but you're a counselor, you're a minister, you're a mediator, you're a man. And I'm like, well, when and where did I sign up for all of those duties? To myself, but I know how God is. God always puts you in the right place at the right time. It's according to His will, His sovereign will. So I thank God for being able to work at a radio station like KJLH to do such a thing. So I know that my purpose is greater than just spinning music. So let's get into it. They titled this relationship session Real and Raw, right? But with the title Real and Raw, there's really no direction to the title. So I was thinking, you know, to use the title of love, sex,
all the sessions are now
and
starting.
finances.
Sessions are now starting.
And I think those are the critical areas in a relationship that most people suffer. And allow the relationship to go south because of those 3 areas. I get calls saying, Kevin, she just don't love me no more. She, you know, because men, we're big on that thing, love. That's the only reason why we'll marry you. If you know that you love us with your full heart, hey, you get a ring, right? But if we get some sense or an idea that you're trying to play us, and we'll play the game. We know how to play it. We definitely know how to play that thing. But if you love us with your full heart, 9 times out of 10, that's great. I've gotten a lot of calls so far from women who's not getting enough sex. Can you believe that? Well, not asking me for sex. No. But they're complaining about, hey, look, you know, hey, like my man is overworked and da-da-da-da-da, and I'm thinking about creeping and doing some other things, right, because I'm not getting enough sex. And we'll get into the reasons why finances is usually the number one disruptor in a good relationship when the finances are not right. You know, they seem to go their separate ways. All right, so we'll get into those 3 dynamics, and plus, we're going to be taking a lot of questions from you today. So get your questions prepared, and we'll take that towards the end of the session. And I do believe that we have the perfect panel to address these issues and dynamics. And let me introduce them now. So I've never met Jamil Lacey from Charles Drew University, AIDS Health Representative. Raise your hand, Jamil. All right, give Jamil a great big round of applause. Plus we have Dr. Jashana Avent Johnson, PhD, clinical psychologist and sex expert. We're going to get our questions and answers about sex today. Had the pleasure of meeting this young brother. I called one of my brothers now, who was on the air with me the other night, Mr. Van Brown. He's an actor and motivational speaker. Give him a great big round of applause. Haven't met Dr. J, the counselor. Dr. J, the counselor.
Yes,
All right. And I invited two of my dear friends to be a part of this panel as well. And we go back and forth with relationship things. Mr. J. King from Club Nouveau, everybody. Mr. J. King. And this last one, I do believe that God gave him the blueprint as to how to keep relationships going. This brother's well knowledgeable. Mr. Zoe Williams. So I got a few questions just to kind of spark dialogue right now to get us talking. We have one microphone panelist, so make sure you pass that mic. Let's kick it off with relationship. Well, we know relationship seems to be so very beautiful and easygoing in the beginning, but why is it so difficult to maintain? Why is it so difficult? Why is it one of the hardest things to maintain? Anybody on the panel, take that question.
Take it, brother.
What's going on, family?
As I've traveled, and one of the consistent things that I see is that there's a difference between a relationship and an entanglement. I think one of the things that we have to examine is the definition of what is a relationship. When it comes to a relationship, there should be a mutual agreement and a mutual benefit for both parties. One of the things that really puzzles me, and I'm really bothered by this movie, is Jerry Maguire, because he messed us up. Because one of his famous words he said is, "You complete me." The issue that's in a relationship is you can't maintain something that I was never supposed to maintain. I am not your God. Which means that when we connect in a relationship, please let two parties that come whole come together. But if you are in a relationship where the other person is meeting your needs because you're needy, you're in an entanglement and not a relationship.
Whoa.
I can smoke a bag of that. If I smoke. Relationship, as I see it, is a highly reflective classroom where the feedback you get from your partner is your personal curriculum. Have you ever wondered why a person that you care about gets under your skin in a way that people you don't care as much about does? That's because that irritation, and I think you've heard the poet Rumi say, you can't become polished unless someone rubs against you.
Come on now.
Right? So relationship, if you've studied neuro-linguistic programming, you know that there is a biofeedback that comes from being in a relationship. And the first thing the neuro-linguistic programmer will tell you, if there is problems in communication, is because there's a lack of rapport. So you take responsibility for that lack of rapport. That means what you're getting back from your partner is a reflection of what you need to work on. And a lot of people would rather blame than claim. That's what relationships' ultimate spiritual purpose is. The revelation of self-knowledge so one can continue to matriculate spiritually through life.
I just learned a whole bunch of stuff. Interesting thing, I'm 56. So at 56, when I look at a relationship, interesting, a good question is why can't we maintain the relationship? And it's because we don't maintain the relationship with ourselves. We don't even know how to love ourselves. And we see it in our community. We see it in our homes, we see it on our blocks, we see it in our neighborhoods, we see it when we kill each other. We don't know how to love ourselves yet. And so it's difficult to maintain a relationship with somebody when you don't even maintain a whole relationship with you.
Beautiful.
And that's why finances become an issue. These are things that and a lot of it has to do with our leadership and what we're fed by our leadership, how we've been conditioned. The people that are supposed to be our direction, and that's supposed to be our helpers. These folk that we put in these high positions are not, and that's who we follow. That's who we followed over the years. We have to learn how to follow ourselves, how to know ourselves, how to love ourselves. So as we walk into a relationship, that way when you come in contact with a man or a woman, you know exactly who they are because you know exactly who you are. And if they're not following that, if they're not walking that whole path, they can't even connect with you on a real way because at a certain point in time, you guys are going to separate because you are whole in who you are. We have to get to the point to where we start, as you said, take responsibility for who we are. Most difficult relationship you're going to have is with yourself. The hardest thing you're going to do is look at yourself in the mirror. Not talk about how great you are, but look at how screwed up you are so you can correct those things and move forward.
I just want to say that you guys are amazing. It's great advice. My name is Van. I think initially when we first meet someone, there is a attraction, physical. You don't know them. You don't know the intimacy of them. So you're first attracted by the beauty of the person, the uniqueness, their talents. So there is a chemical, when you see that person, there's a chemical that releases in your body that gives you this vibration that says, I have to meet them. And because of this vibration, now you long to be with this person. You want this relationship. But the problem with that is once that chemical wears off, because we never discovered the truth of what a relationship means, what is this vehicle called love and how we're supposed to use it. We think love is Valentine's, romanticism, and all of these things, but the true reality of love is, because I am so filled up, it simply means I choose to give. But the problem is, we're not giving, we're investing.
Okay.
And because we're investing, we want a return on our investment.
Here we go.
So we're in a consumer relationship, but we're calling it a
Here we go. Yeah.
So we first have to distinguish before we do anything. Before we get a car, they give us a driver's license first. We have to learn how to drive it. There's all these rules and regulations. But there's no requirement that suggests that I need to be a fully qualified human being to be worthy of someone else's company. So now it's just an experiment. And if I don't investigate, what does it mean to be in company with someone? Not just when I'm happy, but when I'm in the throes of my emotions, can I still communicate to you in love? That's the difference. Because sentimentality will go away. There are moments where I don't feel like loving you. But love is not a feeling, it's a decision. So until we decide that love is a decision, we're wasting our time. Amen.
Doc?
So I'll just piggyback on everybody, and I have the pleasure of sharing this space with all men, brothers. It's amazing.
Speak in the mic, Doc.
Okay, can you guys hear me?
No.
Is it off? Can you hear me?
Is this thing on?
Might go off.
Brother Nash. Oh, here we go. Just beat it up.
Y'all so nasty. Y'all so nasty.
Nothing nasty about that. But I will say this, I completely agree with Dr. J. It is in relationships where the math equation, half and a half, does not equal a whole in relationships. We have to come into our relationships whole. But what we have to remember is that in relationships, we come with what we learn. And so our first relationship lesson was with our primary caregivers.
Mhm.
And from that, we learned how to be in relationships. And I don't know about y'all, but I didn't have the best model. And so when you go into your relationship, you get with what feels familiar, physiologically, psychologically, emotionally, mentally, spiritually. And so the reason why it doesn't last is because we was tired of it when we was growing up. And now that we're in that relationship, what felt good in the beginning because it felt familiar, we don't want it anymore. And so we keep seeking this relationship unconsciously, not realizing that relationships is about finishing growing up. That's what it's about.
Oh, I love it. Come on, there we go. The only woman killing it.
I don't think there's really much more to add to what's been said, but what I will say is, as a millennial, I guess, on the panel, I think we fall into the trap of trying to put our best foot forward at the beginning. I call it the Instagramification of love.
I love it.
Yeah, seriously though, like where we, obviously on social media platforms, we all want to live our best lives and project our best lives. And I think that's what we do in relationships. And so oftentimes what we aren't willing to do though is to show who we really are, right? Outside of the photos and the trips and family engagements, beneath that there's something who we are at our core. And I think through time we start to reveal a lot of those things, those insecurities and those demons that we haven't addressed personally. And so when you try to integrate two spirits that haven't addressed their own insecurities and the things that are beneath the surface, and that's when you get conflict. And so the time, obviously, when you first start dating, it's great, right? Because you're putting your best foot forward. You're opening doors. You're going on expensive dates, right? You even have some of the best sex. But even as time progresses, those things start to chip away at some of those things because the surface of what we're trying to present, it doesn't have any longevity. And so I think the first thing we have to just be able to do, and I think everybody has touched on that, is really get in touch with who we are and who we are as individuals, both spiritually and emotionally. And I think that's what it starts.
Man, youngster.
So let's go to the beginning of new relationships. Now, a pastor friend of mine, Pastor Dominguez, you guys are familiar with him? Pastor Dominguez?
Yeah.
We had a conversation regarding dating, and he believes that we are dating for the wrong reasons, right? And he mentioned something about dating for data. Dating for data. Now, how can we start the relationship? How we start the relationship will give indication as to how it will end. Like you hear it all the time. If I had the chance to do it all over again, I would do it this way. Now, before dating, question for our panel. Before dating, what areas of our lives and character traits should we be working on? And while dating, what attributes should we be looking for when choosing a mate that's right for us?
All right, so I'm gonna set it up for my fellas and my lady, all right? All right. So here it is. I think the first thing of it is, as a man, as a brother, and I can really answer it both questions, is as a man, when I know I'm ready for a relationship, and to the ladies, the man that you would date is a man whom is trying to master himself.
Nice.
Which means that this is uncensored, right?
Yes.
We gotta learn. Okay, so let me go ahead and go there. Y'all clean it up for me, all right? I grew up in church all my life. I grew up in church all my life, and they told us that the Holy Ghost is a holiness thing. But the reality of it is, it kept getting harder and harder and harder because there's something that runs wild in me. And I can't be the only man. And no matter how much you ask God to calm it or take it away, not only will he not take it away, you don't want him to. So then I had to learn how to cage this animal. All right. Too many brothers is running wild. You know what I mean? But you've been taught that something's wrong with you. There's nothing wrong with you. You need that. Yeah. But you need to cage that animal and learn how to control your equipment. So if I'm going to engage someone, engage a man. When I met my wife, she met me mastering myself, which means that, first of all, brothers don't lie. Please. Baby, I love you, and I'm getting myself under control. But I told her all the stuff that I need to stop making. Y'all know what I'm talking about. You know what I'm saying? Stop lying. Live your truth. So what I would date, what I would engage is a man, one, who would be truthful about who he is. And number two, that you can see that he's making, let me say this to you. I ain't talking about no mouth service. Don't date no man that just talk. There you go. What you doing matters. You have to meet a man that you see him doing the work to master himself. That man, I would date. All right.
We're gonna go somewhere totally different.
Go get it, brother.
You can't have in a mate what you are not yourself. I always tell men and women, stop dating an idea, a concept, a construct, a set of expectations. If the human being is in flux, constantly growing, how can your ideas about the relationship be more stable than the person? Right? Don't date an idea. Most of your ideas are a collection of beliefs that serve as an escape from who you really are. And you want your partner to be a coping mechanism to help you get to the fantasy of your ideal self. You want to know why relationships don't work? Because you are God having a human experience. But you're bound to social game rules. Most relationship specialists or professionals are sociologists. This is why they don't talk about spirit in their practice. They're telling you about social norms, social game rules. You get it? Yeah. Oh, well, by 25, I should have been married. By 27, I should have had my first kid. That's what the statistics say. That's because you're dating an idea. You're dating an ideal instead of the real. Ladies, if I just do a quick poll, well, no pun intended. Just a survey. How many of you guys, by show of hands, judge a man based on his actions? Not his words, his actions. Do actions speak louder than words, ladies? Yes. Wrong.
Thank you. Thank you, sir.
Men use behavior to lie. We mold our behaviors to your beliefs. The ideal standards model. That's what it's called. The ideal. Y'all want to know how it works, right? This is why we shut up and let you talk. So we can prepare the behavior. Most women speak over 25,000 words a day. Most men speak roughly 3 to 5. You guys got to get a running start talking to figure out what you want to say. We're very direct. We want to do this, we want to do that, and this is it. Do you understand? So when it comes to dating you, we tend to shut up and listen to you because now we have the blueprint on how to behave around you because behaviors speak louder than words to you. But what speaks louder than behavior, ladies? Do you know? Yes, you do.
Character and nature of the man, right?
Your intuition speaks louder than the intention behind his behavior. And most of y'all ignore your intuition because he's behaving right. Now, when he stops behaving right, you can go back and say, I saw this, I ignored this, I saw that, I ignored this, I saw. Do you get it?
Yeah.
We communicate behaviorally because that's what you look for.
Yeah. I got it.
You don't even question what is your intention for behaving in the manner in which you're behaving. We have an agenda in our behavior. Did I say? Okay. You want to know why they don't work? It's because you're dating an idea and not a real person. When you find my purpose, when you recognize God in me, when you see that I am as devoted to my purpose for living as I am to talking to you, that's when you're talking to a real man. I'll stop.
You got to have one that hears though, the PhD, because he gets deep on you. I think I'm a little over this.
Just a little bit.
With every time you turn around, every man you deal with is the same kind of guy. It's because you're the same kind of girl. And so when I see guys that say, you know, gold diggers, these women are gold diggers, I always say that you're a gold seller. Because they're digging for what you're selling. So I'm 56. I done everything you can do. I done told every lie you can tell to be in a relationship. Now I know if a woman, I call it rubbernecking. My assistant right here, Stephanie, she says I'm a caveman. Because I grew up in an era where woman was woman and man was man, and if a woman got in your face, a woman can't get in my face. If a woman starts talking too loud to me, that's right, she can't talk to me anymore. I don't argue with women. I think when a man starts arguing with a woman, he has female behavior.
Say more. Here we go. Say more.
Because men shouldn't argue with women. You can't. The man just told you she's used 25,000 words. You can't whoop her. No more than she could whoop you in a physical fight. So I think, and it's going to always come back in my head to how much do you know you? How much do you love you? Why would you put that kind of chaos in your life and saying you love yourself? Who would do that? So I believe it always is going to come back to you. And how grown you are. Not how old you are. How grown you are. See, the woman that sits across from me has to be grown, because I'm grown. And as soon as she starts, hold on, you know, as soon as she starts looking like basketball wives, I already know this is it's just like I wouldn't date a woman younger than me more than 10 years. Because I think at that point, you know, you're again asking for trouble. It's very, you know, because we're in different, we gotta look at the stage of our lives that we're in. And then we have to, you know, we have to say, how, you know, where am I in it? Who am I in this whole picture? So I believe it always is going to come back. I agree with you, brother, what you said. You got, like I said, but as you get older, the same way You're supposed to get smarter, you're supposed to grow. You never stop learning.
Right.
And that's the beauty of it.
Right.
Because I always feel like there's something new for me. And so woman is a beautiful thing. Woman is just incredible.
Here, here.
When she's woman. But when women start taking on male characteristics, she's out of line with herself.
There you go.
And she don't align up with me. And I probably look like a caveman to her.
Caveman Jay, let's go!
So I think the question was, what do you do while waiting for a relationship?
What areas of your life?
What areas of your life you need to clear
Yeah.
up, and what are the qualifications that you should look for in a mate?
The attributes, yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So the first thing you should ever do before even venturing out into wanting a relationship with someone, you first have to know self. Because if I don't know myself, I can't truly love myself. And if I can't truly love myself, I'm giving something to you that I don't even want because I don't know who I am. So the first thing is self-development, and I only could be filled up by knowing the image giver. The image giver gives me my qualifications and my reason for being. And if I don't know what I'm supposed to do, the Bible says, he who finds a wife finds a good thing. She's a helpmate. So that means she comes along to assist me with the purpose that we're supposed to give to the earth. But if I don't know what I'm supposed to do, then I'm giving myself to another woman, then basically what I'm doing is I'm giving myself an exercise in frustration because she came to help, and if I don't have anything to do, then we're both in chaos together. If you're looking for someone and the qualifications in them, you first have to find someone who fits the skill sets in terms of the purpose that you're going to give to the earth. What are our qualifications? We've reduced the woman to a silhouette. We want to marry a woman because she looks good. We're not interested in her intelligence. All of these unique gifts that God has given her, we forego that for the silhouette. And then we're pissed off when this nightmare sleep gets
I see you. Keep going. I see you. Let's go.
So, social media has lied to us. The world has lied to us saying, this wife, this person, this man, this woman has to look this way. 6'2", dark and handsome, silhouette, beautiful curves, but we're missing the meat ingredient. What are we going to do together? And if she doesn't have the skill set or he doesn't have the purpose, then we're wasting our time. So the first thing I would ask someone before this venture of dating, what was the last thing you completed by yourself? What was the last thing you completed by yourself? If she comes along to assist me, it means that we're supposed to complete something together. But if you haven't completed anything on your own, it means that you haven't been tested. And if you haven't been tested, then why should I take a chance on you? This has nothing to do with love and feelings. It has everything to do with where we're going. Everything has to be a generational thought. If the knowledge and the way she carries herself, I don't want those attributes in my daughter, I can't marry this woman. If you're looking for a man and you see the attributes in him that you don't want in your son, you can't marry this man. It's simple. You're not looking for a husband, you're looking for the model example of a father. You're not looking for a wife, you're looking for the model example of a mother. She's the mother of nations, he's the father of nations. We gotta stop talking about romanticism. What are we doing to help the generation propel ourselves forward? And when you find the purpose and the unification of what you're supposed to do, everything else becomes simple. It has nothing to do with feelings, the silhouette and how she looks. It has everything to do with her unique skills. Can she speak to me in love and her emotions? The Bible says her tongue can tear down a household. But you're consoled about the butt and the breast, and you don't care about her tongue. And then you wonder why the household.
We're gonna talk about sex a little bit later, y'all. So y'all chill out. Y'all hang in there. Put hormones under control. Right? We'll talk about sex. We're gonna get this.
We care about the tongue.
So it's like, what's that mouth do? I don't heard you, so I heard you.
Care about the tongue.
Go ahead, Doc.
Okay, so I believe the question was what characteristics and things that we're looking for in a relationship.
Yeah, we're still seeking batteries.
Okay, so
There we go.
I think the problem is for most women that we fall in love with potential and not what is actual. And so then when you break up, you say, you know, you changed. No, he didn't change. He never was who you thought he could be. And so I think it's important to understand that when we're looking for mates, that we are looking for somebody who shows up to the relationship. It's one thing to show up to the wedding, but to show up to the relationship is something completely different. So we have to show up to the relationship, our true selves, living our truth, authenticity, integrity. How do they manage? How do they manage their life, their finances? All of that is important, but we're not having those conversations because we're looking at the silhouette and getting in the bed before we can even have those type of conversations.
Speak to us.
It's not a communication problem, it's a connection problem. We don't know how to connect. So we get in these relationships with people who are emotionally unavailable. And if they're emotionally unavailable, they can't be there for you. They haven't been able to be there for themselves and they can't be there for you. So we have to look at what is actually in front of us versus what we think they can be.
I love it.
Good stuff.
There you go, from the free throw line.
I'm gonna stop going last. I'm learning just as much as I'm So I think one of the things that, and I'm gonna speak personally, one of the things that I feel most uncomfortable with when going into a situation with a woman is like my financial situation, right? I never wanna like go into a situation and not be the man, right? And not be able to provide. But the reality is like I'm paying for school, I'm paying to survive, and so sometimes you feel a little, at least I'll speak for myself, I feel a little uncomfortable like approaching a woman or trying to take a woman out or, you know, like those types of, those financial things, like practically trying to maintain a relationship if you don't have the finances is tough. So I think one of the things that I focused on is just being more mindful about how I manage my money, bringing in additional sources of multiple sources of income, so that way I'm never in that position. I think as men, we're not really, and it's just the general as a community, we aren't really taught financial literacy. And I think that's one of the key issues that oftentimes comes into relationships and results in it being short-lived. And so the first thing for me is practically is finances. The second thing I would say is, where am I operating at? I think this goes along with what everybody else is saying. Where am I operating at from on an energetic level? So like I can go out on a Friday night and be operating at my energy level can be very low. I operate from a very low energy level. Meaning what? Meaning I'm just trying to smash, right? Like that's just where I am. I'm on short-term benefits of this engagement. We talked about entanglement.
Right.
And I think, I think when I meet a woman initially, I already know like off top like where I'm operating from. I know that I'm operating from a very low energy state, right? So I know that like physical attraction and the silhouette is most important to me at that time. And I can also be able to detect if I meet somebody like, oh, well this might be something that's a little bit more substantive than just tonight, right? So then I operate from a higher energy level. So I think it's being mindful of where we're operating from at that time, right, in a moment. And so those are two practical things that I think are most important to me. It's just like finances and being secure, but then also knowing myself.
Right.
Good.
Right, good stuff,
Good stuff.
Good stuff.
And so we're running out of time today. We're running out of time. I want to get a lot of questions from the audience today. One last question now. How is sex important in a relationship? I want to get that to the sex expert. She's over there. Can a relationship survive without sex? And if yes, what are some survival tools just in case that person's not physically able? You know, we need some tools.
So is sex important? Absolutely. It's kind of like air. You know, you need it. Without it, it's a problem. And so in our relationships, when sex is not there and that's not agreed upon, it's a huge problem and it can dominate the relationship. So I think it's important to understand that it is a part of connection. There is a chemical that is released in the brain, oxytocin. When women and men orgasm, it is the connection, the ultimate connection in our relationships. If we're not having it and we're not orgasm, we're talking about sex. Yeah. Uncensored. If we're not doing it, then we're not having the ultimate connection that I believe God created for us to have. The connection is emotionally, physical, mentally, and spiritually. And in sex, all of those realms are touched. And so yes, sex is extremely important. But can a relationship survive without it? Yes, it can if that's what you as two partners have agreed to do. Other than that, y'all need to be getting it on.
Let's do it!
No, Bobby Brown thought that would keep Janet Jackson in, but it didn't quite happen.
But let me say this, because you made a comment earlier that something about women are calling you saying that they're not having enough sex. That's true. There's a huge pleasure gap. Let's say that. Men are having orgasms. And they are having, 3 to 4.
Right.
3 out of 4 men are having orgasms. 1 out of 4 women are having them.
Right.
And that's because we are physiologically uninformed about how our body works. Most women don't know where their vagina is. You ask them to raise their hand and say, "Where's your vagina?" They said it. I said, "Put your hand where your vagina is." They do this. They don't understand that that is not their vagina. That is their vulva. God created all of that. It's made out of erectile tissue. If women don't know it, men don't know it.
Tell us.
And so it's important to understand that we're not communicating. And what I hear from women a lot is that they don't want to communicate in the bedroom because they don't want to hurt his ego. His ego is not that fragile. He wants to please you, but you have to be able to talk about what you like. We have to know for ourselves, and we have to be able to show it. You don't just get in a car and go. You have to know the match.
There we go.
Right? So we have to move. If we learn how to enjoy sex and how our bodies work, I think we will move away from having satisfactory sex to having satisfying sex.
Okay. There we go. Love it.
So we got about 15 minutes. Any questions for this wonderful panel today? Raise your hand and I'll give you the microphone. All right, stand up, state your name and your question.
How's that? I already see him looking. My name is Marcia. I do have a question. I'm setting these glasses down so I can get it out right. A lot of people talk about sex, and we live in a sexually driven society. We all know that. I come from a more traditional Christian context, and I believe that there are soul ties formed when you have sex outside of the confines of marriage.
I believe that.
A lot of the drama that people discuss relationally between men and women, baby mama drama, baby daddy drama, relationships, dating, in my opinion, is because sex is the root. I think there should be less sex and more conversations before you get to sex, then you won't ignore the red flag. So I want to know from the panel, since everybody's talking about sex, what is your opinion about sex? Is everybody, we should have sex, go ahead and have sex. What about the consequences of sex outside of marriage? Let's talk about that.
Okay, cool. Who want to take that?
Okay, so let's be clear. We did not say go have sex. I do believe in soul ties as well. There was some research that came out that they said that they could actually find DNA from men that in women from men that they had slept with. It still is still up for a debate. However, I do believe because oxytocin is a connection chemical, and you are connected when you are having sex. I don't really believe that you can just keep having sex and not be connected to them. I think we are socialized to think that we can have sex with no strings attached.
Gotcha. All right, cool. Right here. State your name and your question.
Hi, my name is Brian Swanigan. I was just recently married July 14th.
Congratulations.
And the question I have is like sacrifice as far as the black men themselves. Why is it that black men don't want to sacrifice anything going into a relationship? What I'm saying is that we don't want to give up nothing, but we want black women to give up everything. Okay, why is it that far as, we don't want to give up hanging out with our homeboys, going to basketball games, doing all those things, but we want her to give up all her things. So why isn't that a lot of brothers don't want to sacrifice anything going into a relationship or to build a relationship? That's my answer.
Who wants to take that? Who wants it? Who wants it? Jay?
We on this panel, nobody wants to take, the reason I have this microphone, because nobody wants to take it. And the reason why nobody wants to take it, because they don't want to hurt his feelings, because I don't know that brother. I think anytime somebody gets married, there are sacrifices that people make. That's why they get married. They made the sacrifice for this woman, and the woman made the sacrifice for this man. I just don't know that guy, and I think the consensus on the panel was that we don't know what we're talking about.
Next, let's say one thing real quick. Just to bring it up a little bit, I think one of the things you, as a man, that we probably consider is what you're asking me to sacrifice. What are you asking me to give up?
Right.
You know what I mean? It's a question. I've seen it plenty of times that what one is literally asking of the individual is inhumane. I've seen where in a relationship, when individuals get married, they take things out of context and they're asking the individual to give up something that's unhumane. You do not have to lose your individuality just because we got married. You know what I'm saying? I'm telling you, let me say this right here, and I'm giving it back to Nash. We gotta stop paying, we gotta stop lying, because this is way out of benefit from this bill. I got a ring on my finger. And I'm telling you, if you want to keep one, you better get the information right. Because the truth of the matter is, and I know we probably got preachers and teachers and everybody in this audience, but we're giving out death certificates to people. You know what I mean? Because marriages are breaking apart. These children are struggling, families are broken, communities are broken behind irresponsible people getting together with all these misconcepts and using theology to do it. You know what I'm saying? So what I'm telling the brothers to do, man down. Come on. There we go. Man down. Okay? And so my thing of it is that if you in fact connect with someone that say and live a life that say they love you, I have to be me. First of all, love is not what you say. I can't even say it's what you do. Love is God. Amen. And if you ain't got that, you're susceptible to do anything. So it don't surprise me if that Negro selfish. Because that brother would treat his car better he treat you. And since I ain't done what you either, you treat your lead better than you treat me. So let's stop playing about it.
You done woke me.
Tell them the truth.
So, marriage, just real quick. Just really quickly.
Take a selfie while you do this.
Marriage, right? Number one indicator of wealth in America is marriage. That's how you get it. Marriage. Number one indicator of poverty in America is divorce. Let's just be clear. African American divorce rate is higher than the national divorce rate. Let's be clear. Marriage is a business. White people have 90% of the nation's wealth. Black people have 2.6% of the nation's wealth.
Shouldn't be getting married.
Okay? Well, hold on. 2% of the 2.6% of African American wealth in America is in the hands of baby boomers with a bunch of kids waiting on them to die so they can get the house. The other 0.6% of African American wealth is in the hands of everybody else. Puffy, Jay-Z, Beyonce, Oprah, Bill Cosby, you, Steph Curry, LeBron James. Okay? We broke. Let's just understand that, right? We are broke. And we think having a ceremony is going to make us whole. Now let me just see, it's easy to gain the symbol of something than it is to attain what it symbolizes. Most of us that are married have the symbol, but we don't have what it symbolizes.
That's deep.
You understand? We talking about relating. First off, relationship is not going to the grocery store and picking out the best products that are available. If you are a work in progress, under construction, how can you go pick completeness? Everybody on this panel is correct in what they're saying from the perspective that they're coming from. If you look at a picture on your cell phone and you zoom all the way in, what happens to the picture? It's called pixelation. Did you know your reality is pixelated? Time is pixelated. We can go as far as eons all the way down to nanoseconds. Right? Eons, years, months, days, seconds. It's all pixelated. So guess what happens in relationships? I told you before, a relationship is a highly reflective classroom where the feedback you get from your partner is your personal curriculum, what you gotta work on. Sometimes it'll take you 2, 3, 4, 5 relationships to get a complete answer about yourself. Because the knowledge is pixelated. Do you not understand that? We have been taught by a transactional society to be transactional in relationships. You got to come with this in order for this to mean something to me. So now what happens is you get a bunch of beggars wanting to be given to in order for that person to prove that they are worthy. No. The Hindu word for devotion to God through service is seva. Nobody wants to spiritually serve their partner. No, they'd rather be served by their partner or they become disappointed and disgruntled. It's school, people. It's not some kind of Netflix and chill hobby. It's school.
Love it.
I think that's time for one more question. I think someone called me from over here. The lady back here. Change your mind?
Oh, beautiful lady right
I
there.
changed my mind. I just wanted to say
Stand up and answer the question.
when the gentleman made the statement about, when you get married, why is it men or women don't want to, why do they feel that something has to be given up? I had in my mind, it's not giving it up, it's joining forces together.
Right.
I mean, we go hang out at the Laker game together.
Yes, ma'am.
We can go and share those activities that brought us together.
Yes, ma'am.
So I don't know, I think Dr. J zoomed in on it to some degree.
Right.
But that's where the wholeness and the completeness comes together, is we hang tough.
I like that answer.
Okay, all right.
We have about maybe 2 minutes left, so here's the deal. Let me give a few seconds to...
Let's break the rules. No,
To let know, my friends got some books out. You got to get Zoe's book, is incredible. I'm telling you, take your life to a whole new level. That band got something on it as well.
Good evening. This is one of the reasons why I wrote this book. It's called Intentional Loving versus Love Symptoms. We are actually giving love symptoms, but we're masquerading it as love. we're giving kind gestures, taking out restaurants, flowers and chocolates, and like the brother was saying, we give a lot of these things that resemble love, but if we don't know love at its rawest core, which is, it's the act of servitude, which is Siba. Thank you for that. It means that I don't need nothing from you.
Right.
The minute you decide that I don't need nothing from you, then I can fully be free to love. And then she has the security and the blanket to fall gracefully. Because I need nothing from you. The problem is, we say that we're getting married because we choose to give. But the real reason we're getting married is because I want something. And anytime you want and need something, you are in a deficit. And because you're in a deficit, the person recognizes the deficit and abuses you. Because they know you need it from them.
Come on, man.
But if you come whole,
Yes.
simply wanting to give, then it creates an organic atmosphere for both people to give organically. And I will argue, if you're not whole, then you have no position even getting into a union, because it's the breeding ground for domestic violence and just abuse, and because now you're willing to accept things because we don't need anybody. Only thing we need is God.
Amen.
We don't need any, so that's the biggest lie in the world. We don't need any. We need to give love, but we can give that to anyone. There are people who refuse to get married and they become narcs and they simply just give love to the world. So you don't need to be married to give love. You can give love to the world. But if you choose to give that I am so filled up from the gift giver, then automatically what comes out of me is organic and true.
Thank you. Thank you guys for having me. Thank you, Kevin. I think for me, it's always loving myself. And that's what I work on. I work on loving myself. I think until you learn how to be in love with yourself and appreciate who you are and reach for the best parts of yourself, it's difficult to love anybody else and to pull anything good out of them or have them want to give anything good to you. And that's how I live my life. That's how I walk. That's how I wake up every day.
Jay, you got an incredible CD out too, man. Where can they find that?
So I have an album called Helen's Son. Helen is my mom. She died 11 years ago, but she is the absolute love of my life. She is the reason why my life's changed. The album is available at iTunes. It's J King, Jayking, Helen's Son. Kevin sometimes plays my songs.
The book that I just wrote is called Intentional Loving versus Love Symptoms, and it comes out September 30th.
I love it.
But the first 30 people that meet me in the corner over here, I'll give it to them for free.
I get you. I love it. As Kevin pointed out, I have a book that came out in 2015. My next book should be out in October. But let's talk about the book that came out in 2015, The Relationship Dismount. How to Stick the Landing when entering a toxic relationship. This right here is a breakup, wake up, and makeup workbook, depending on what stage of your relationship y'all in. 12 chapters, questions and exercises at the end of every chapter. You gotta, do the work before you move to the next chapter. Then I recently did a double CD with one of the nation's premier, I think I gave you this. Yes, one of the nation's premier, he's a psychiatrist. It's called Love Matters Revealed. When I tell you the CD is, the CD is amazing. Go to my website, iamzowilliams.com. And then in October, my new book is coming out, The Holographic Relationship. It's a real situation out here.
It's real. Listen, man, I'm humble. Thank you so much for having us on this amazing day. Tune into your boy on KJLH 102.3 every Sunday, 8 o'clock. We do Relationship Uncensored, all right? So we don't box it in. We talk about it. We have a panel just like this right here, having real dialogue, all right? So make sure you tune into that. I have a book dropping. It's a bestseller. It's dropping in November. You can pre-order now at the booth outside as well as online. It's called Do I Want to Stay Married? And we're dealing with relevant things. Come out of the now, you're not okay. You know what I'm saying? Roommate syndrome. You know what I mean? Two couples sleeping in different rooms. They have a real dialogue. Come on, pastor. Come on, preacher. You know what I mean? Let's have some real dialogue conversation. So it's not that self-help book. It's getting real grounded real quick, guys. So, also, listen, my team, we're sponsoring going to Maui. We're going with a lot of the John Maxwell teams, things of that nature, your boys headlining. But my team, what we want to do is a $4,000 trip. I'm actually sponsoring most of that trip. All you got to do is get your plane ticket and maybe $1,000. I'm paying the rest from the show. If you want to come out there, be empowered in your relationship, be empowered in your business, be with gurus of their trade, and actually they're doing things on the spot, building websites, elevator speeches, making sure that you become better. Look for your boy on the website, call in the KJLH. We're going to get you that. Then today, if you want to keep this dialogue going, get ready to do the locker room. It's all men only, have a real dialogue. We're going to have some real talk and stop playing and we line up in there. All right? So make sure you holler at your boy because we're finna run over there and be a part of that live filming or whatever, but it's called the locker room. But because before I went into a prayer closet or a prayer room or a war room, I visited some locker rooms.
You know, research is showing how much our trauma is carried in our DNA. And I believe that the plantation really played a huge role in our Black and brown relationships. And I am really about helping to heal relationships, but knowing self first before we can really kind of get to know our partners. And so you can visit me on my website at theintimacyseminars.com. Follow me on Facebook, Instagram. And I just want to say, it has been a pleasure, but although we've had that past, we can't do anything about the past. The way we change the past is to change the behavior in the present. We've got to stop the lies and start showing up in our relationships.
Amen.
Amen.
I just want to thank the organizers of this event for having us every year. I think it's something that's necessary across our country. I also want to just thank Professor Cynthia Davis from Drew for inviting me here to speak. Closing words. So our relationships are the fabric of our community. And so as somebody who's studying to become a doctor, studying to become a child psychiatrist, I think having these conversations is so important, and even having them in a more intimate space. I started an organization from Oakland. I came down here last year to start a program at Drew. I started an organization 2 years ago. It's called Trap Medicine. We work with barbershops and bring these types of conversations, doctors, medical students, into shops, both to have obviously like clinical screenings and stuff like that, but to really engage in honest dialogue. So if you are a barber or know any barbers that are interested in partnering, please see me out. Thank you. There you go.
I'm sorry, guys. If you guys, I don't have any copies of my book. Jay just took that one.
I bought it.
If you want to get the book, it's at Amazon.com in Kindle and paperback form. But I do have CDs. So if you want a CD, just see me afterwards, and we good.
What's your name?
So Williams.
So Williams is his name. All right, so give our panel a great big round of applause.
West. you.